I'm very proud to have these enormous knowledge sitting next to me. And I hope you're going to join me in welcome them as well. We're going to talk about enhancing the digital connectivity, so the strategies for data centers, peering, cable investments to address the current and future regional demands. Now, I know it's a mouthful, and I hope that we, within 1 hour, can give you an overview of what's there now, how should we address it, and maybe if we can get into the future, that would be fantastic. Now, before we move on, and I'll, because we have a presentation from Equinix, from Martin, exclusively for you, prepared. So before I give Martin the word, I'll quickly would like to give actually my experts. I would like to give my expert a quick minute to introduce himself. And if I may start with you, Noah, floor is yours. It works.
Does it?
Oh, yes, it works.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here in a beautiful country, Oman, my favorite country. My name is Noha Khalifa. I am the regional director on behalf of Amsterdam Internet Exchange. And Amsterdam Internet Exchange, for the ones who doesn't know, is one of the biggest internet exchange in the world. We are in Amsterdam with 900 connected networks. And what we do here is partnering with local partners and setting up internet exchanges to enhance the data and the internet exchange in the region.
Fantastic, and thank you for being here with us. Vahan?
Thank you. My name is Vahan Ovsepian, and I'm the Senior Community and Public Policy Advisor at RIPE NCC, that is the regional internet registry for Europe, Central Asia, the Middle East, and all this huge region, let's say. We are also acting as Secretariat of RIPE community, that is actually all the people and organizations interested in technical development of internet, and we act, as it is mentioned in our name, as a network coordination center. We are working in 76 countries with the headquarters in Amsterdam and regional office in Dubai.
Thank you so much, Vahan. So don't think that this is an Amsterdam Dutch thingy, yeah? Because the both of them are in Amsterdam. That's not. Mohammed, please.
Yes, hi, assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Mohammed Naji. I am working for DU. I am heading the International and Wholesale Department. And as most of you are aware that we are an operator in the UAE. And we are working with all the operators in the region and internationally and hyperscalers as well. And I'm here to contribute and discuss with the team here how we could move on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and happy to have both of you here as well. Now, Alain, it's you're sort of the host here, right, with Zoe?
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. Yeah, we're glad to have you here, all of you. My name is Alain Sawaya. I am the growth strategist for Data Center with Zoe. So I think being the host, everybody will have to know Zoe. But just in case, we are the wholesale company for Zain and Omantel together. And I'm here basically to also collaborate in this lovely panel, talk about data centers, something that I've been doing for the past 20 years. I'm not that old, but basically...
You look so young. You look so young.
Thank you.
Don't you think he has a smile from a young guy? Huh?
Say yes. Please.
Now it's time to say yes, guys.
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah, there you go. You see, good having you, and thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you so much for having us here in your beautiful country. Now, this session, of course, is sponsored by Equinix. And I have to say, Martin is actually a regular here. And, and Martin is actually in charge of the region for Equinix here as a senior manager. And I'm so happy to have you again here, Martin. And
thank you very much.
And for the coming 10 to 50 minutes, I think the floor is yours.
Bless you. Thank you. I just have to say it's regular. My first time here was last year, and I am totally blown away by how wonderful, what a beautiful country. And Muscat and Oman is just a pleasure to be here. Really a wonderful surprise for me, and I'm really pleased to be back and hope this is the second of many such visits.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Martin Atkinson, Senior Manager for Peering and Interconnection. Although I'm responsible for Equinix's business development activities in the region, I'm most certainly not responsible for all of Equinix's operations.
Let me brag a little bit, you know.
So in any case, you know, my role is a business development role, and really my whole purpose is thought leadership, both internally at Equinix to articulate what's possible in GCC region particularly, but also to work with partners, sales, and all components of the end-to-end ecosystem, if you will, and value chain to deliver growth of the digital economy for the various countries that comprise GCC region. And that's my objective, not sales.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, good to have you for the second time here, which actually will be a bit more. We just heard this. And thank you, Equinix. So, Martin, the floor is yours. So you can take it away.
Hopefully this is all going to work. And the presentation hopefully will appear on the screen behind me, yes. So let me just check the functionality here to make sure I go in the right direction. Can I go back? Yes, I can. So that's going forwards, that's going back. Okay, thank you. I know where I am now. So last year I did a presentation talking about the great growth of subsea connectivity with new cable systems landing on the coast of Oman and the terrestrial connectivity that will be necessary at enormous scale to cope with a number of new subsea systems. Regulatory environment, number of players and all sorts of stuff talking about growth of digital economy in this area and the enormous opportunity. This year I was asked to talk about how AI was influencing things, which segues very well into my last presentation, which was about subsea, because there is an enormous connection or relationship between subsea connectivity and AI, the growth of AI globally. So just talking through this, and I'll have to make sure that I talk to my presentation at the same time. AI is influencing data center design. Obviously, people are talking about gigawatt facilities for the first time. That's unprecedented. Some of that may be vaporware, but there is no doubt at all about the fact that it's not vaporware when we talk about network service providers already benefiting from the demand that AI is bringing. Subsea, at the scale that is actually being driven, is driven by AI. We're talking about multi-petabits of new capacity that's appearing. That isn't just for enhancing people wanting to stream cat videos on internet. It's about AI. It's about RESTful APIs exposed from neoclouds running AI instances at the edge, but also at the core, depending upon the AI use cases involved. So the overview that I'm going to give you now is a whistle-stop tour through what is happening for and with networks that we know about. I'm not claiming that we are a comprehensive expertise, or we have a comprehensive expertise, but Equinix is a data center operator with around 247 data centers across the world. And so we work with all of the world's significant service providers, whether it's networks, cloud, content, as well as digital enterprises, and all of the prime movers and shakers. So I'm just going to dive straight away into AI. I'm throwing out some names, but I have separate BD colleagues who work in and with AI and emerging tech, because we have to bear in mind that we are not in this conversation at the moment talking about quantum computing. There's some work going on, obviously, in quantum encryption and post-quantum encryption, which is already underway in terms of plans for the future. That stuff is happening. But in terms of AI, what is happening today is led by some of these names on the screen here. NVIDIA, we all know. The surprise for me is that NVIDIA GPUs are only a part of their play. NVIDIA is partnering with service providers around the world and enabling, I would describe it as pervasive computing, GPUs deployed at the edge, not in enormous data centers, but in Equinix retail data centers delivering edge experiences to end users. AI-driven Cloud RAN for 5G and 6G in partnership with Nokia, for instance, the list of partnerships with NVIDIA goes on and on. CoreWeave, Lambda, Grok. Grok is interesting because it's an offshoot of Google's TPUs, and the LPUs, the language processing units that they are building, is very distinct and separate from the GPUs that NVIDIA are rolling out. Anthropic, Crusoe, they all have very different variants. My interest as Syrian interconnection manager is that some of these are already exposing their APIs on the public internet for developers to build into, and they have AS numbers, for those of you who understand AS numbers, and their own IP address base. Some of them are actually peering on internet exchanges today. And as a statement of intent, when I look as a senior manager for peering and interconnection at the capacity on those internet exchanges, we're looking at day one, 200, 400 gigabits per second of capacity. Those are people who mean business. And I mean, this is serious capacity on internet exchange, unless there is something going to happen that justifies that kind of investment. So this to me has been extraordinary. There are around 400 such AI as a service providers worldwide. The ones I'm putting on the screen are key movers and shakers that we describe as neoclouds. Obviously, we've got the traditional historic cloud service providers, each of whom has their own large language models that they're rolling out, enhancing the end user experience, whether it's content and digital media in the social media space, such as Meta with Instagram, with Facebook, and with WhatsApp, WeChat, with Tencent, and so on and so forth. The important thing here to recognize is that US-driven tech, also Chinese tech, is taking the global stage now, and all of these are coming with cloud and AI-driven cloud services. The actual architectures will not be static. They will be, using an English term, horses for courses. So you'll have GPUs embedded at the edge, you'll have LPUs embedded at the edge, or maybe large data lakes driven by AI at the core, which would be the training nodes. So we have the training nodes, which people probably know about. The important thing about training nodes is tens of thousands of GPUs or LPUs that are communicating directly, not through operating systems or kernel, but connected directly. So remote direct memory access is essential for these kind of compute infrastructures, which can be distributed because the power isn't necessarily available in one location. So within 80 kilometers, you could have a series of data centers communicating over dark fiber with ROS, with Spectrum X, or with InfiniBand running over that dark fiber at scale to connect the GPUs directly together. That means that any dark fiber providers in the room will find that there is enormous demand coming from these neoclouds asking for fiber for them to run these protocols to connect the GPUs together. And indeed, we see that. Some of our reports that we're getting back from US, particularly partners that we work with, such as Zayo, GTT, etc., is that they're seeing 10 times the level of demand for dark fiber in the ground to connect these data centers directly to each other to build this compute for the future. Therefore, anyone who actually operates a fiber network should expect that they will see this kind of, or should certainly be contacting these neoclouds to understand their requirements. With inference, it's far more nuanced, and I think people should understand this. When I first started hearing about AI, I heard about training nodes and inference nodes. Inference would be at the edge, training would be at the core. The truth of the matter is, just like connected vehicle, smart transport, and many other IoT use cases, you're going to have compute where it's needed. You're going to have it at the edge, you're going to have it on the device, which is even more at the edge, obviously. You're going to have it in the middle mile, and you're going to have these core training nodes. So batch inference will be training nodes. We have customers in, for instance, pharmaceuticals and life sciences who are looking to use batch inference for drug development. Cloud inference, neoclouds are not alone in that you'd also have the standard cloud providers that are already using large language models to inform all kinds of end user experiences. And then the most interesting one for me is the interactive inference. Because for an interactive inference, latency becomes crucial. The AS path, if it's internet mediated, becomes crucial in terms of the straightness and shortness of that AS path because it affects the latency and the end user experience. For AR, VR applications, but a whole array of embedded experiences for end users. And in some respects, the architectures that required the same kind of considerations as you'd get with gaming. So you could actually say that a gaming infrastructure for multiplayer online is quite similar to the kind of architectures that you need for interactive inference. And edge is, we're seeing it as a data center operator in demands for enormous edge capacity that really was unexpected for us. We didn't expect to see such large edge deployments. So for the end users, using ISPs, using mobile operator 5G and 6G, the interactive inference is also going to demand enormous increase in capacity for last mile. The interesting thing also here is middle mile, which I maybe get a chance to talk about in a minute. Cloudflare recently talked about agentic AI and its need for bots that will be defined by tokens that are issued to end users. So every token will be authenticated because of the security angle around that. That will cause millions of bots for the first time to be more working between the end user device and the neocloud in building the end user experience. So that will be additional traffic. So when we look at intelligent networks, we've got the two things. We've got intelligent networks that are networks that are enhanced, and then we've got the opportunity for networks to deliver AI. In terms of intelligent network use cases, all of these are actually proven by customers that we have today, service providers that are enhancing their network offering. So there's GPU as a service, just selling access to AI. There's agentic AI for delivering an improved customer relationship. There's agentic AI for operations and predictive maintenance. I should have added here agentic AI bots for middle mile connectivity between end user. That's a new use case which only has become evident to me in the last day or so. AI for RAN optimization, obviously NVIDIA and Nokia working together, and their recent signed agreement is very much about AI for RAN optimization. Enhanced cybersecurity is essential because AI-driven exploits is inevitable, I feel, and so AI-driven security will also be an inevitable response to that. And then finally, AI-driven network optimization, which will become essential for the cost optimizations that are necessary and possible in the future. Metro and regional. So we talked about the fiber for the GPUs that we'd link together using DCI. NSPs will see increased content requirements for traffic driven by AI. Internet exchanges are already seeing the likes of Grok and CoreWeave and others joining internet exchanges with unprecedented capacity requirements. And then there will be fabric-like SDN platforms that will be driven by AI. Equinix Fabric itself, which is our overlay network for cloud access, is now being driven by AI-driven end-user experience, and we expect others to do the same. The most important thing here is subsea is also being driven by AI. And these are the use cases that telegeography tells us are the reasons for the significant number of new cables landing on the coast of Oman. Distributed training and federated learning that need to be in different regions to basically take data from all cultures and environments. Spatial temporal load shifting for cost optimization. And finally, due to legal issues around data sovereignty, etc. These are the hyperscalers that are driving subsea cables, and as you can see, Google is preeminent, followed by Meta. These hyperscalers are indeed building new cable systems to deliver the end-user experience, which is AI-driven. That is a large part of what we're seeing on the coast of Oman here, and the pressure that's being put on GCC region for capacity. And it benefits all network service providers in this demand. And this is the final slide, I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear. But this looks at the diversity of path that's necessary, as I talked about on my last presentation this time last year. The terrestrial capacity that's required is at an unprecedented scale across the Arabian Peninsula. The Red Sea is no longer considered as the preferred path. Diversity of path through Saudi Arabia and Oman is essential, and that is an enormous opportunity, not just for the service providers, the network service providers delivering that capacity, but also for the digital economies of Oman, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all other GCC states. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I ran out.
All right, any questions for Martin? Maybe from the audience? It was, again, so clear, Martin. Really? Yeah, it absolutely was.
Well, thank you.
I have a question, quick one. You mentioned a couple of times next to, let's say, the AI or whatever, how it can help and support us, but on the cost optimization, I really think that, you know, diving a bit in deep, can you give us, let's say, a really valid, I mean, we have operators here, we have SPs here, give an example of, let's say, a real cost optimization which can happen?
Yeah, well, so to some extent this is already being done, but I mean a very simple example, as well as OAM and predictive maintenance, seeing network performance degrade in real time. Previously that would have been maybe engineer, operations, procurement, you know, that would actually procure additional paths, and you'd have a human agent that would actually determine that the performance had got to a point where additional capacity was required, or a particular path wasn't performing well, perhaps due to, you know, partner relations, etc. The fact that agentic AI can make those adjustments in real time through API integration will create an enormous opportunity for cost optimization in terms of latency, capacity, using the resources that are available in the most cost-effective manner.
Okay, thank you so much. Getting everybody on stage now into the discussion, and as mentioned, apologies, we're accessing actually the current landscape and of the data centers and the peering, of course, in the region, and of course exploring the challenges and the opportunities we will see to be in alignment with the demand. So actually, you know what, Mohammed, the current data center landscape and the peering landscape from your point of view, who and what are the key drivers, the challenges, the opportunities, and what are the latest, let's say, developments you see in the region?
Me?
Mohammed.
Okay.
I'll come to you, Noah. I know.
Sure.
Of course, I know.
Okay, I think I will start from where Martin finished, which is that we all see that the booming when it comes to the demand on the subsea and the capacity requirement within the region. We see the amount of investment when it comes to AI, building ecosystems around us, which would not only serve the region itself. I think it will be a basis of even exporting the computing and the workload of AI even. So we will, I think we are shifting the concept of the region being only a transit to being the hub for the connectivity, the hub for the AI, and even exporting it towards other regions as well.
Okay, Noah?
Yeah, AI is being mentioned many times, and it is AI-driven the demand in the region, also cloud, and that is what an internet exchange is the middle. I want to say the Dutch word punt, but it's the middle spot that can move the data from A to B, and data sovereignty is a very important topic in different governments, and using the internet exchange can facilitate in that demand of exchanging the data and meeting the demand for the AI and cloud. Okay,
all beautiful, but you must see also the challenges which are there, especially in the region. What kind of challenges do you think, especially from an IX point of view?
You know, the region is moving from a transit to more data-driven, and there is always a challenge. And the beautiful thing is of the challenges that in all the countries, that is supporting the digitalization and have that very high on their agenda, you see that the regulators are aware of all those challenges. And the most beautiful thing is of cooperating with the local ISPs and the incumbents and the regulator, that they see these challenges and they work together to overcome those challenges. That is the beautiful thing of, as a community region, try to work together and make it happen here.
All right. Well, that sounds promising, right? Alain, how do you see it?
Well, first of all, what Martin have presented basically is he basically answered all the questions on the panel. Thank you.
I want to keep them awake.
However, talking about challenges, definitely data governance in the region, and I've seen it since I was basically hosting companies and governments since 2011, is a major challenge. And now with the LLMs happening, so now every government is looking to say, how can I have my own LLM hosted in my country? And this is gonna bring huge data in every country. And we're seeing that. So basically you see Humane in Saudi trying to basically build their own LLM, launch it. In UAE the same. In Oman we have already, it's announced, we have our own LLM that's gonna be launched. And this is not gonna drive only the data center business, but also the connectivity business. Mm-hmm. Looking at that, on the back end, you have to look at how much power and do we have this amount of power provisioned in every country to basically be able to do that? And everybody is talking about how we can make it green. Now they're painting it green only, but we have to look at that and see how we can do that as well. I believe those are the major challenges. Definitely Noah is right, that also regulations, policies has to be done. What data can be put on our local, and how can we basically make a hybrid model? And those are the major points to look at in this region. Thank you.
Exactly. So from a right point of view, where do you see, Ivan, where do you see the opportunities? Or where do you see more opportunities coming?
Well, I would say that when we talk about the challenges, it is also the opportunities. When I had a question just before this session about the some OTT services killed traditional businesses of telecommunication companies, and this is also another challenge. AI is another challenge for telecommunication companies, but also for all the traditional businesses that, if not transformed, they will die. So this is a real challenging opportunity, and where we see the opportunity for the cooperation is not to have the segmented internet, not to have the different policies about the internet, different approaches about data protection, different policy-making bodies even, that we should understand that internet has a global nature. It cannot be the great AI-enabled internet in Oman or great enabled internet in Dubai or Armenia or Turkey. It's a global nature, and we should prepare our networks for that. But it is not just the words, what we do in this direction. So we do provide these platforms of cooperation and talk, and we support, for example, IGF's Internet Governance Forums. We do the original activities for telecom companies, bringing also the policymakers like the MINOG or CAP4 meetings. But we do also provide the support to technical community to have this capacity to make the changes. We do these trainings, we do these certified professional activities, and this is just the work that can be done and should be done on a day-by-day basis, so we can have enhanced opportunities and capacities to make these challenges. But first of all, we should understand that this change will come. This change is already here, and we should be prepared for that. If we don't do that, we will just die.
Okay, wise words. Martin, you want to add something to that?
I don't know that I can add more to that. I think, well, because I agree with you totally. it's down to the competitive advantage. You know, one of the things that I think is a great shame is that when this was first mooted in terms of new technology or emerging technologies, people talked about digital edge. And unfortunately, edge is the same term that's used in BGP for talking about internet services delivered last mile to mobile, networks and broadband. And so we've got this confused state where marketing jumps on the idea of edge and talks about stuff at the edge, not understanding that service providers in the telecom space, whether mobile operators, broadband or carriers, each themselves is being disrupted and needs to transform, leveraging AI to develop their own digital edge in the sense of commercial advantage edge. And I agree with you, transform or die. I don't mean that in a dramatic sense that people are just going to wither and die, but if you want commercial edge, it will be essential to at least look at how AI can enhance what you sell, how you sell it, who you sell it to, or indeed how you reduce and optimize your costs of your network, leveraging AI technologies for in-house optimization. So I think the full gamut, really, of the business model for any service provider should be to look at AI and how can it help me build digital edge.
And don't be afraid.
And don't be afraid.
All right. Being in the beautiful city of Muscat in Oman, Alan, can you share with us and with the audience, of course, the strategic importance of Oman being, let's say, and hopefully maybe the international hub? No offense, eh? No offense. I'll come to you. Come to you.
Yeah. The geographical location of Oman made it play a big role. So basically, I remember in 2010, 12, when basically this big hype started and everybody wanted to start laying their cables to cross-connect from America to APAC. And whenever you want to pass by, you just had to cross in front of this beautiful place.
So are you telling me you were just being lucky?
No, we were opportunistic also.
Okay.
We were very smart. Because at that time, we could have said, no, we don't want to go there. So basically, we grabbed every opportunity in order to arrive to 18 cables here.
And you started by swimming and taking the cable on your back all the way to Australia, right?
That's how basically we were able now to have the #1 swimmer of the world.
Oman.
Yes.
Exactly. No, cool.
So that was a very good opportunity. And I think also, if you look at the shortest point, if we start from Singapore towards this area, so Muscat and Salalah are very good, well positioned to basically connect. And this is where we feel that this is going to grow more. And this is where also it can become one of the major points of connection towards linking US to APAC from those.
And that's why you partnered up with Martin here.
For sure.
In both of those cities, nice data center, right? MC1 and the?
Well, indeed.
SN1.
Yeah, so obviously the world's digital hubs. I mean, it's very fortunate in the last couple of years, Telegeography have built a market connectivity index, which I think is fascinating. And it's something we've been grappling with for years. Obviously, we're represented as a global platform. Equinix has data centers in all of the leading cities of the world. And when you look at those metro connectivity scores, it really bears out our experience in terms of it translates into revenues, it translates into cross-connect numbers and network density. And it's clear that what they rank, the way that they rank market connectivity seems to work, and it aligns with our experience as a data center operator. Frankfurt, surprisingly, not a big city, is the #1 connectivity hub in the world.
Kleierstraße.
Yeah, indeed, but equally Singapore, because of the cable landings, is in about position 5 in the Telegeography ranking. This is kind of about right. This fits with our experience, commercially.
Let me tell you a story. I'm Dutch, right? And I need to pick it up now for the AMP sakes, right? Just let me do this. Because you know why Kleierstraße became big? Because the mayor of Amsterdam said, I don't want any more data centers here. Can you imagine? Anyway.
But that's actually, it's an interesting
It
point.
happened.
It's true, and the problem is power. And actually, when you come back to the whole problem of AI, it's about where the power is.
True.
And where the power is isn't where the network density is. So you then have a major mismatch location-wise with where you have to place your GPUs for the power and where the connectivity runs when the GPUs need massive amounts of dark fiber and internet and carrier connectivity. So that's a major problem that we're trying to solve with as a data center operator.
And that's why, Dutch guy I am, I'm happy that the prices of power in Germany went through the roof. You see? So there's always a competitive edge, right? Noah, I want to come to you.
Yeah.
For you, strategic hub, what's the importance here in Muscat and in Oman?
The importance of Muscat is, of course, the geographical part, but also the history with the Netherlands, because again, we have to bring
It's
that.
the Dutch show here.
I'm not half Dutch. I'm 100% full Egyptian, but I've been raised up in the Netherlands for 100 years. But anyhow, the history of Oman, and that's more important, is that it was always years ago. It was the harbor where all the trade come in. So, and that was also Amsterdam, by the way. So that's why the link between the two. Having said that, I think Martin showed it in his presentation, the triangle that Oman's position. And Oman has all the sea cable coming in, where we host the Oman IX together with our partner Awasar. And then it is a corridor. It has two terrestrial route, alternative terrestrial route, to one through which is the route to through Egypt. I have to say Egypt as well, of course. Promote. So Egypt, through Egypt to Europe, but also the alternative route to Iraq. So that is also a very good position these days with some critical points in the Red Sea. And that is also a good position for Oman.
You have such a beautiful country here, guys.
It is.
So beautiful. But it's not only Oman, let's be honest. We talk about the region. The region is booming. So maybe, Mohammed, you can say a bit more about the strategic importance of the whole region, the GCC region and so on.
So I echo what we have said actually about Oman being the regional hub of the cables. But if you look at the future today, we are talking about the Gulf to be the regional hub for the data, for the AI. So that's one element that we need to build on the top of it. Plus, even UAE has around 16 or 17 cables as well. Saudi has the same count of cables. So if we need to look at the future, we should look at the Gulf as the main hub for the AI, for the data, and we just not look at the connectivity part of it.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I think we all could form that kind of cluster or the ecosystem where everything would go and serve the region.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wahan,
May I just add to this sentence, because
Exactly.
I was just listening to others. You know, why here, for example? Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I just come to the understanding that the main competitive advantages of Oman and Gulf is not the location, is not that it is somewhere in the middle of submarine cables. It is people. It is decision makers. It is thinkers that understand how to develop this country, how to develop this region, how to go ahead with this digital development. We have in history and even now a lot of countries with a lot of wealth that just spend it, just throw it away, and still are throwing that away. And the main advantage of this region, and I see the future only in this, because they know that this should be done. People from Oman, people from Gulf region, people from this Middle East, a lot of people already understand that the future is digital, that they should make good interconnection, they should build IXPs, they should have good data centers, because it is the future. And that is the great wealth of the region.
Yes.
and we can clap for that, right?
Yeah.
Wahan, I want to stay with you, and well said. Talking about the future, right? So planning for the next generation, forming partnerships in the digital era to, accommodate the future demands. how are we facing actually the speed of the market demand? I mean, it is like, you know, tomorrow is already yesterday, right?
Tomorrow is already today. We just don't understand that sometimes. But that was the point I was making, that people here already understand that, youth generation is already understanding that. And what is quite important, just to bring together all these stakeholders, because telecommunication field, telecommunication operators have their objectives. The state has its objectives to develop, for example, digital. And if they don't come together to develop the strategies, to create new infrastructures that can serve these strategies, it cannot work. When we are talking about, for example, last mile, when we are talking about this meaningful connectivity, what is this meaningful connectivity? If it comes to me, this meaningful connectivity is the connectivity that can ensure your proper development in this new era. Meaningful connectivity for some villager, it is quite enough for him, for example, or her, to get connected to his or her relative in Europe or somewhere else. But we should educate people so they can see the challenge and they can see the opportunity for that. We should educate technical people so they can ensure this development. We should bring these governments and we should bring this technical community together so they can jointly develop these policies, and not just to do something from the operator side and do policy from the regulator or the ministry side. And this is what I see here in this region, that is very passionate, that is very direct towards the digital development and the digital cooperation.
Okay, Alain?
I think also, yeah, 100%. And I think also having a young, very young people around us is making the region hungry. And if you look at even now what UAE is trying to do in their aspiration to become the top 3 AI hubs in the world. Yeah. You're looking at a 5 gigawatt AI LLM data center. It's humongous. And it's not only that you plan, they implement, and you see this running. The same way in Saudi, same way in Qatar. A new young generation that is hungry and is basically ready to act directly. And this is helping a lot.
So what you're saying, actually, in Europe, we have to be aware because we will come in a holiday resort, right? Right?
No, actually, you're gonna, definitely everyone will play a role. But since long time, this region is being developed. Now it's emerged, and it's emerging more and more.
You agree, Martin?
Yeah, I do. Yes, obviously, Dubai particularly has been an enormous success for tourism, for international business, etc. And you know, one of the things that in peering and interconnection that I'm talking about is, where does the content reside? And for a long time, Middle East looked for 84% of its content to Europe, peering on AMSICs, peering on DKICs, links, etc. The more that content moves closer, the better the end user experience, the more local internet exchange and peering happens in country with cross-border connectivity. The ITU spends a long time talking about measuring this to understand, because they understand, like telegeography does with the connectivity hubs, which involves also cross-border connectivity, is that the more that data is centered in region, the more that it will actually grow the digital economy and with it general economic success. So I totally agree. I see those moves happening in this region at a rate that is really quite breathtaking, actually.
Okay, sounds promising.
Yeah, I will say it first from an AMSIC's perspective, because everything what was said about the region I totally agree with. From AMSICS, we strongly believe that a cooperation with local partners is key to be success, because if you really have a good partnership, and we say we are here for the better of the internet. So that can only be done with local people to support the local community, but also the region. And that brings me to the other thing that I'm so proud of the region, and I can say I am part of the region. Although I grow up in Europe, but my heart is still with the region. So I'm very proud about to see all the development going on here in the region, and also the young population, the passionate population, and they really want to make something. And I see also in the future that the data and the traffic all will be in the region, and and the region is not depending on getting traffic from Europe anymore. And the other thing is on the demand for the growth in the region for AI and cloud, etc. That is something that you can't do that by yourself. So I think you will need different cooperation within the different companies, within the different countries, to cooperate together to meet that demand. Nobody has, you can't supply the demand for just one entity. So you need to have all the different expertise. So I think working together, cross-border countries together, you have to work with other incumbents as well, but also with other companies with other expertise to supply the demand in the market.
All right. I want to stay with you because I want to talk a little bit about peering. Is it
What's
okay?
that?
Peering? What's that? What's peering actually? What's peering actually?
Does anybody know what peering is?
Of course we know. How can peering at the local internet exchange lead actually to an improvement of the customer experience? And maybe you can, maybe on top you have another example of, say, one of the key drivers for the current growth of the IXPs here in the Middle East.
Yeah, everybody, of course, know that keeping the traffic local, good for the user experience, etc., latency, but it's also a redundancy for IP transit, for example, because you still need IP transit beside it. So it's good as a redundancy. But most important thing, what I also hear all the time, data sovereignty. If you want to make sure that your data is travel from A to B in a secured and a good and measurable way, then it is by definition going through peering is the best way to do it, because you have with the route server you can measure your traffic and manage your traffic. So I think with peering would also support the data sovereignty and keeping the traffic local.
Okay, thank you, Vahan. Staying a bit at the peering ecosystem, how can reliable peering ecosystem actually ensure increased network resilience? That's a mouthful. You have 2 minutes.
I'll be short. In fact, peering for me is, I've just developed that idea, is 3R. Readiness for the future, resilience, and redundancy. So if we have a good peering, if we have a good peering policy, if our infrastructure is ready for this peering, so it brings us the readiness for the digital, resiliency for these emergency situations, and also redundancy, just to develop our networks more. I was ready for 1 minute.
He did a good job, right? He was quite quick. There was 1 minute 19. Well done. All right, Mohamed, and then also from Martin, I want to know. We were talking about, also the data centers, the IXPs, whatever, and a numerous amount of money, guys, is spent and actually invested. So identifying new investment opportunities to address actually the growing demands in the, not only the submarine market, but the data center market and the whole, let's say, ecosystem actually in the region. What and how and where do you see, let's say, new investment opportunities in the near future?
Okay, I think operators and everyone will still keep investing and growing the demand to serve the AI, booming, what's happening in the region. Has been shared that there is an AI campus in the UAE which would go for 5 gigawatt of computing capacity, and it's already inbuilt. So I'm expecting that within next year they will start live with minimum 200 megawatt from day one. Plus, so there will be still a growth when it comes to submarine cables. I can see that it's even driven by even the redundancy or the diversity requirement. Yes, the traditional route is still risky, but it will be still available. People will keep investing on it, along with the diversity when it comes to the 3 arrows that Martin has showed us a bit. I think all the operators around us would work together in a kind of an ecosystem, as Noha said, which is like everyone would work towards providing more kind of connectivity, more kind of diverse route into this one. So those kind of demands will fund this type of requirement. Plus the OTTs or the hyperscalers are a big player on the same thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Martin, I mean, you've been spending a zillion here.
Well, it appears that way, yes, and more to come in the future. And it's a very, very moot point, investing in the right location. It's funny enough, we have a new CEO of the company, and she actually talked about we should build bigger. Build bolder, I should say. The mantra is build bolder, to which I've added, from a business development perspective, build bolder in the right place, and build bolder in the right place faster, because we can't do this quickly enough. And those are I would say, the 3 considerations. But it comes back to what I was saying in my presentation, that I hope it came across, that talking about gigawatt facilities is very much with stars in the eyes about training nodes and huge GPU clusters, which maybe sit where the power is. But the connectivity and where the intelligence needs to sit in the network, close to the end users, or if it's agentic AI, the bots, where the devices that are leveraging AI are located, will determine where the intelligence in the network is. So it isn't all core, it isn't all middle mile, it isn't all last mile, or even on the end user device. It's all of those things. And so you have distributed, I would describe it as pervasive computing. And I don't think people have yet got a grasp of this.
Okay, Alan, he's actually accusing you of not doing enough.
I believe the more you do, the more the market will be hungry. But spot on Martin, you cannot say you don't need the big data centers. You don't say you don't need the small ones. What we're seeing is also you will need more. The bigger data centers are happening, the more you will need data to connect those to the edge. You'll need edge data center, and you need distributed edge as well. So you will see hybrid models of data centers. You're gonna see also hybrid companies. A company is gonna say, I'm gonna focus on the AI. People are gonna focus on the edge. You're gonna see the operators looking at basically transforming their small exchanges into more edge data centers. So this old exchange that used to be in the middle of the city is going to be transformed into refurbished into a 2 megawatt or 5 megawatt data centers, and going to happen there. And even those small shelters are going to have data even at the point, as Martin is saying, of the customer, because other than this, congestion on the network and network will fall. So it's a new thing. There's a disruption happening. We're seeing that. It's different. And we have to follow that. And you cannot say, I'm building a strategy now for the next 5 years. Now, your strategy has to be reworked on a yearly basis even, to basically follow with whatever happening in technology.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So, guys, we were talking about, assessing the current data center landscape, peering landscape, from an XIP point of view as well. What do we have? What do we see? Where are the challenges, and what are the opportunities? Now, let me do a quick round as sort of a finalizing round. And I want to know from each of my panelists, what do you think we should look out for? I'm not so much asking for scoping the future, because nobody has the glass ball, right? I mean, do you have the glass ball? No, we don't, unfortunately. I'm still looking for it, but I don't think that I will find it. So maybe if I may start with you, what are your thoughts for the future? What's going to happen? Ahmed.
I think we all would have to collaborate more than compete. Mm-hmm. That will create more opportunities for everyone. I think, as the guys pointed, that we need to keep working on it. The more we do, the more we need. So I think it will be more into blending those kind of submarine cables, terrestrials, initiatives, data centers, AI campuses. They will all be one ecosystem where everyone should contribute.
Partnership. That's what you're
Yes.
working together.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what's your take?
Yeah. I like history and taking into account that this is also another industrial revolution. And I see that industrial revolutions brings a lot of disasters and a lot of opportunities. So I see that there will be real deep changes in all the fields, including the governments, including the society, and including also the technology, because it is technology driven. So still I'm positive and optimistic about the future, and I see that we can find a real value if we have this cooperation and partnership.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Noah?
Invest in an internet exchange, of course. But it's just
Say again, investing in?
internet exchange with Amstix and a partnership with Amstix. Now, to complete or to fill was my panelist, is that we to keep the traffic local, to answer or to supply the demand for AI and things and a cloud. And data sovereignty, it is very important to work together indeed, and to have a good terrestrial and connectivity across the whole region together, but also, in the machine in the middle, which is a stable and a reliable internet exchange. You really need an internet exchange to move all that data. Yeah, so
Okay.
invest in an internet exchange.
And if they have any questions, they can come to you, right?
Yeah, where's my number?
Well, we'll not disclose.
We agreed, you put it here.
But you'll be around here for the coming days, right?
Yes. And Taha, my colleague, is sitting here now, joking.
Okay, perfect. Alan?
Well, I'm going to address it in a different way. Collaboration and partnership is very important. I'm going to look at what is the major challenge now. I think it's power. How can we solve that? Are we going to basically find a different way to power those GPUs? And this is the main thing. We're not doing well in terms of alternative energy. If you look at it, we need to find maybe a different GPU way to basically, that doesn't heat a lot. I'm just saying. I believe this is the major challenge, because now I think data centers in US, I think consume more than 50% of the power of US. Imagine.
Only 50%? That's a lot.
Imagine. So basically, this is a major thing, and I think there will be a lot of investment on this part. This is where I see where a lot of investments will happen to make sure that keep our planet green, because otherwise it is a major challenge.
We have to watch it, right? Because we are here, but we will give this to our children, right? And we need to make sure that they actually get a better life than we have, right? That's why we're here. That's why we exist, right? We want to give our children a better life, right? So let's work on this one. Now, Martin, some famous last words. What is your takeaway for the audience?
I don't know about famous last words. I'll do my best. Just interesting what you said about the power consumption, that AI will drive. New scientist last year actually extrapolated a graph of the rise of power compared with global output of power generation around the world, and found that at some distant point, I can't remember the exact date, when AI would consume all of the world's power. It's not sustainable. It just isn't, clearly. But optimizations will occur, technologies will improve. Look at how the CPU has improved its energy consumption over the year. And clearly, these new devices at the moment are very inefficient in the way that they work. And the cooling requirement and the power delivery that we are asked for is crazy. It's crazy. However, in the long run, yes, the power has got to be solved for. But in terms of enhancing the future, pervasive computing, delivering the most efficient end user experience and transforming society in a positive way that benefits everyone, requires what everyone has said here, and that is collaboration. I think in Europe, we're used to the concept of co-opetition, and it comes up quite often in peering ecosystems and internet exchange. But co-opetition is something that I think traditionally has been less prevalent in the Middle East. And I look forward to, if Equinix as a carrier-neutral co-location provider can be an agent of change in partnership with the various providers, service providers, and national governments and regulators in the region, bring it on, is what I say. I would love to see that for the benefit of this region and for the wider global economy.
Okay. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we are sort of came to the end of the session, which is all about enhancing digital connectivity. I hope you got, let's say, some insights from the senior experts next to me on the strategies which are for data center, for peering, for the investments, also cable investments, you know, and to make sure that we address actually the current and the future regional demands. And with those words, I really was very honored, and I'm really thankful for having these senior experts sitting next to me. I would like to thank you for being here and sitting it out with us for the last hour. I wish you actually a fantastic evening, because we will have, and together with Omantel and with Zoe, we will host a fantastic gala evening tonight. I hope to see you all there, because it will be a blast. We're
waiting for you also there.
Shh, don't tell them, because if you tell them that I will be there on stage, they will not come. You know, and that was not funny, by the way, right? Don't get there. Tomorrow we will have even more sessions coming up for you guys. So thank you for today. I would like to thank Equinix, Martin, as a sponsor for this session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And guys, we'll see you later. Yes. Thank you.